guys, it's Bryson with the Parker County Beef Company. I want to talk to you today about how we handle our inventory here at the Parker County Beef Company. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to inventory, especially with a perishable product. So frozen beef or fresh beef is not something that you can put in a warehouse and when you get to it, you get to it. So there's a couple key components that we have to make sure that we're staying on top of with our beef inventory. The first and really most challenging is going to be our supply of inventory. So when we take steers to the processor, let's talk through the timeline. We drop them off, then there's processing time, if you include aging, is sometimes 17 days, 21 days from drop off to pick up box beef again. So in that time frame, you could have 3 weeks of sales that you are in limbo for. So what we have to do each week is we take our sales report from the last few weeks, we look at where we're headed, and then we fill out our cut sheets based on where we think we're going to be 3 to 4 weeks from now. Now, a lot of things come into play there. What we're selling, seasonality, and really what we have. So the cool thing is that there's multiple different options to say get your rib section cut into. You could do like prime rib roast or standing rib roast. You could do ribeye steaks. You can do tomahawks. So all these things come into play where we look into the future and we think, hey, we're going to have enough ribeyes 3 weeks into the future. Let's do some tomahawks. Or it's getting to be grilling season. It's almost spring, or it is spring here in Texas. Let's do, rather than all ground beef or 75% ground beef, let's do half of that as hamburger patties, as we know that people are about to start opening up those grills. So we got to look into our crystal ball 3 to 4 weeks in the future, where we think we're going to be at and what we think we're going to need. The simplest way that we've found to do that so far is a whiteboard with little tabs that we move across there, just stating, hey, we're picking up here, we're dropping off here, we're picking up here, and then we just make a bunch of notes. We've not found a way to get that in some kind of digital format yet, but we're working on it. And then what we have to maintain is, if you guys seen our videos, we have about 10 ground beef freezers. And some things we've learned is that if you were to just say, put your ground beef or your chuck roast in this freezer right here in front of me, that's perfectly fine and well, but so say 1 week you sell half that freezer, you get more chuck roast in, you put them back in the freezer. Well, now your oldest roasts are still down there at the bottom. So unless you're selling all the way down through that freezer, you're going to continue to have older product that never gets touched because you never get to it. So we have a couple different ways that we combat that to make sure that we're always turning over all of our product. The first is in our main shipping freezers. We have our 3-box system. So we fill it up. That's what we pull out of to ship and pull out of to pull and fulfill our pickup orders and stock our retail shelves. Then as the box empties, you move it to the back. You find the supporting boxes and fill it up from there. So you're always rotating those 3 boxes from the back of the freezer to the front of the freezer, turning them over and over. Now in some of our bigger ones, for instance, our chuck roast, we have 2 freezers of chuck roast, one right here in front of me and one in the room. We call those, they're sister freezers. So we put all of the chuck roast in here, and you do not pull chuck roast from anywhere else until you've reached the bottom. Now when that freezer is empty, you can begin filling it back up, but now the magnet on the top that tells us we're using this one goes to the other freezer. That way you're always selling all the way down to the bottom in all of your freezers. And then when we get to our ground beef freezers, same concept, but instead of 2 freezers, there's 12 of them. There's a little magnet that says basically I'm up, and then it has an arrow that after I'm empty, go to this freezer. So if you empty a freezer, you're in charge of moving that magnet to the next one so that anybody else that walks in knows, hey, go to this freezer. When it's empty, go to this freezer. And we basically snake our way around the room just to make sure that we're always turning that product over. So it took us a long time to get that simple enough that I could explain it to you here in a 2 or 3 minute video, but that's what we found. The biggest challenges with inventory is going to be our projecting out 3 or 4 weeks, making sure we're turning stuff over. And then the last one would be knowing where stuff is. So what we've settled on now, and I'm sure this may change, I may go back and watch this video in a few years and think, man, I cannot believe we subjected ourselves to that. But now all of our fulfillment freezers, for instance, I have a fulfillment freezer here in front of me that has just ribeyes and New York strips in it. So this is our fulfillment, our 3-box system. Then we have the next 3 boxes up of each product outside of that. Then this section of freezers has a support freezer, if you will. So any extras on top of what fits in that freezer for this quadrant of freezers goes right here. And each freezer in here has a support freezer, if you will, so that we always know we're not walking one across the room, and two, we know where stuff is, at least generally speaking, at all times. Hope you guys found this interesting. Thank you for watching us here at the Parker County Beef Company. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to start posting more and more of these videos with some behind the scenes stuff. We'll see you guys next time.